Well, we're going to visit now with David Duggan. David is the defensive coordinator for the Golden Eagles, also the linebackers coach, and not a stranger to Southern Miss. Dave, you were here for a 4-year stint when Coach Larry Fedora was the head coach, and I obviously have some fond memories of your time at Southern Miss before you came back.
Well, it's great to be back. You know, I really enjoyed my experience here. It's a place where, you know, the players are tough. They're physical. They're hard-nosed players, and that's, you know, what, you know, as I look back, you know, I tell the story all the time of watching an ESPN game years and years and years ago, and the announcers came on, and you saw the black helmet, the black jersey, the black pants, and you had this Southern Miss logo on, you know, the side of the helmet, and they just raved about how tough they were, how physical they were, how hard they played. And so that's what, you know, one of the best things coming back here is, you know, this is a place with a lot of defensive tradition. You know, the people here were great. I enjoyed the fans. You know, the stadium is a tough place to play. The fans are on top of you, and the community has been fantastic to my family, and so we're really looking forward to coming back.
Talk a little bit about your philosophy. If you were going to spell it out, a David Duggan defensive football team is
a team that's going to have great communication and body language when before the ball's snapped. You're going to see, you know, them attack the ball, run hard to the ball, because defensive football, you make up for a lot of mistakes through effort and great team pursuit. You're going to see great tacklers, and then you're going to see great energy and enthusiasm. As you picture a play going through the progression of the play, you know, that's what you're going to see. And that's what I saw years and years and years ago. You saw this team that had, you know, they were excited. They played with great enthusiasm. They were tapping hats. They were playing hard, and they were physical, and they were hard-nosed players. And, you know, that's hopefully that, you know, the thing that we've tried to do a lot this spring is just talk to them about energy. Carry yourself, how to communicate, how to think fast, because the game of defensive football right now, it's changed in the fact that it's so fast, and you have to encourage or get your guys to get back to the line of scrimmage to get the signal so that they can process and they can think. The faster and more energy, and, you know, the better the body language is, the faster they can play, and that's what we've been preaching all spring.
I know you and I had this discussion when you were here before that nowadays you sort of have to defense is more of an offensive game maybe than the old style defense. I mean, you've got to attack, you've got to put the pressure on the offense, where maybe years ago you sort of sat back and sort of reacted to what they did.
Right. You know, defensive football's changed because of the pace of the offense, and the first thing that you have to do is you have to be ready to play two people as starters. You can't play one player anymore and think, okay, it's like an old game of football where, all right, I have a starter, and then he has a play, and he gets, you know, 15 to 25 seconds of rest, and then he plays his next play, and he's, you know, he can catch his breath. Now you have to substitute almost like it's a hockey shift, where you got to get guys ready to go in on the fly, because players can't maintain that pace for that amount of the game. So you got to have two players ready to play, like they're both starters. And then, you know, you can't just sit back. Offenses are so complex. To get back to your first question, the question is, they're so complex right now. So, and they're so good at what they do that if you're sitting in one defense, you know, they're just going to dial up plays that are going to, you know, work well against that front. So you have to, you know, be complex enough so you're causing the offense problems, but not at the expense of execution and getting your guys to play hard and play fast.
Depth has always been an important part of football, but it sounds like depth, particularly on defense now, is probably more important than it's ever been.
You have to have two starters. I believe that. You know, the game, you know, the way the pace of the game is, it's just like a game. I know a lot of people are going to look at this and they don't really understand hockey down here in the South, but where I grew up, hockey is a fast-paced, go as hard as you can for a short amount of time, flip the puck in, and then change on the fly. Well, that's what offenses now are making defenses do in order to get guys to play hard in the intensity level that you have to play at. You got to be ready. As soon as that ball's down, you got to get your guys running in and the other guys running off, just like it's a hockey shift, because they're going to snap that ball as fast as they possibly can. So you have to have two players for a starter nowadays.
Before I ask you about the spring, real quick, one of the guys you coached and recruited when you were here was Jamie Collins, who just went in the second round of the NFL draft to the New England Patriots. You saw him when he was just kind of a raw 18-year-old. You got to be proud of what Jamie accomplished.
Oh, I'm really excited because I recruited Jamie. And I'm excited, because I'm a diehard Patriots fan. All right, anybody who knows me knows that I love the Patriots, I love the Celtics, I love the Red Sox. Anything that's Boston, that's what I love. And I was really excited to see him drafted by the Patriots. And especially, I have a great admiration for Coach Belichick. I believe in a lot of things that he does, his work ethic and how he coaches and prepares his team. And I think he couldn't end up in a better situation. I sent him a text, as soon as I heard, I said, awesome, you're going to God's country. Whereas he's going up to New England, and a lot of people up there are going to, hopefully, take real good care of him. But I think he's in a good system that teaches you how to be a pro. And that's what I preached to him, since I recruited him and watched him mature, because he's got a lot of upside. People don't understand that when he came in here, we started him at free safety. We nursed him into being an outside linebacker. We called it nickel, so it eased his mind. But that was one season. His freshman year, he played as a true freshman. Then we moved him to will linebacker. That was his sophomore season. Then we moved him to the hybrid bandit, and where you're rushing and dropping. You're rushing 60%, dropping 40%. And then last season, I guess, it had his hand on the ground for a lot of the times. But he's got a lot of upside. He's only played a defense position for a season. So, to work with Coach Belichick and to just leave himself at one position and watch him grow, I think he's going to have a long NFL career.
Talk about spring football practice from the defensive standpoint. What did you feel like you accomplished? What did you like? What did you see that you feel like you got to get better at? Just give us sort of an evaluation defensively of the spring.
Well, the one thing that we talked about is the first thing was just body language. Getting up and getting ready to play and getting ready to process as fast as you can. We really harped on, getting the guys back and ready to play and get in a good stance and thinking and communicating. Then we just tried to get them to play hard. No matter where it was, what after it, we weren't really coaching. We were coaching assignments mostly off the tape, but we were coaching playing hard, getting to the football, getting back, getting lined up, playing with some energy and some, enthusiasm. That's what we wanted, and get them to back having fun. The scheme and everything, I was really happy with the way that the guys worked in the offseason prior to spring ball, because they picked up the scheme pretty well this spring. And I was really happy with, our defensive front can be as good as anybody's in this conference, if not in the country. I mean, we got two defensive tackles that are they're pretty good players, Nunez and Kyrie Thornton. We've got Michael Smith on the outside, Daz, who's played a lot of football here, didn't play this spring, so I'm excited to get him back. Will Freeman's. We got some depth at our ends. Octavius Thomas is, a bandit type of player, backed up by Anthony Wilson right now, and hopefully they'll keep fighting and challenging each other. But we got to find out a couple backup defensive tackles, and you feel pretty good about the front. Our back end's got some guys with some experience. I'm excited about Darren Wilson. He's been playing here a long time. You got Jacorius Cotton, Emmanuel Johnson. Those guys have played a lot of football here. So, we've got some guys that have experienced. We've got to work hard to develop the guys behind them, because like I said earlier, nowadays you're only as good as your second level players.
Well, you're going to coach the linebackers too. What about that position there? You've had some in this time you were here, had some really good guys, and we've got some guys back that have got some experience, but looking for some depth there too, I'm sure.
Everybody talked to me when I came back to Hattiesburg about, are you happy with the linebackers? The one thing that people failed to realize is when we finished the 12-2 season, we had Corey Williams, who played for 4 years for me. We had Ronnie Thornton, who played for 4 years, backed up by Tim Green and Jeremy Snowden. Those guys were all seniors. And the guys behind them didn't play a lot of football, but they're good players. They just need to play. They need the experience. Alan Howes is as smart as Corey Williams is, processing. You got Dylan Rita, you got Tarek Wright. I'm excited about C.J. Perry, who's, an incoming freshman right now, who's got, really good talents. He's got to understand how hard and fast and the concentration level it takes to play at this level. But there's enough depth there. We got enough good players there. On the outside, we have Alex Smith and Jerry and Johnson at our outside spur position. I mean, those two guys played a lot of football here as well. So, it's as across the board. I think there's some good depth and some really good talented players at linebacker, and they played some last year, so their experience level is going to be better.
When you guys come back and get practice going again in August, where does the attention go? What do you got to do over those 3 or 4 weeks that you have to get ready for the start of the season?
Well, hopefully they continue to work as hard as they have been working. I mean, they worked really hard. They were hungry. I think you can't turn back the hands of time, but one of the things that I preach to them is you can use that and learn from that experience. And so they worked hard, in the off-season, physically. Coach Smith has worked them very hard. They worked hard physically, but to maximize your talents, you have to spend the time off the field, because you can play a lot faster. The NFL, Coach Monken uses this example all the time. You don't improve physically or get faster in the NFL. You just get smarter. So that's the part of the game that we're really preaching to our players, is work at the game so you can play faster this summer. So hopefully they do a good job of working, hard on our scheme and our system so that they can play faster. But then we've got to work on, the execution part, the playing hard, the body language, all of that stuff that I truly believe is important.
You were talking about that great history of Southern Miss defense, and those guys all sort of drew on the tradition of Southern Miss defense. Do you talk to your guys a lot about those great defenses that Southern Miss used to have? Constantly.
That's one of the reasons I chose to come back here. We're better placed to be a defensive coordinator than at Southern Miss. The school that is known for its defensive football. I know things have changed a lot over the last couple of years as far as offenses are concerned, and the spread and playing a lot of plays. But, this school is rich tradition of players that have gone on to do great things at the next level. And hopefully, they've passed a lot of those traits and how hard they worked. Gerald, was a great leader and worked at the game and passed that along to Corey. Well, Alan Howes has seen how hard Corey and Ronnie worked at the game off the field, and now Dylan Rita and all the, Alan Howes and Jerry and those guys are working really hard off the field because they were led by great players. And so that tradition hopefully will continue to roll over as, each class comes through and led by the way it should be, your upperclassmen.
Yeah, it's funny. Coaches obviously are responsible. It takes those upperclassmen, those guys that have been through it sometime, to really teach those young guys what it takes to be successful at this level.
The best players, I preach this all the time, the best players I've ever coached have not only been gifted and work hard physically in the weight room and on the practice field. They take every rep, try to get better, not survive. But those are the guys that really worked at the game, not only in the meetings that the coaches run, but they're in there 3 and 4 hours on their own studying the tape so that they can, again, you're maximizing your potential to play fast if you understand and know exactly what's going to happen to you.